Hello and welcome to episode 40 of Crucible Bootcamp. I'm your host, King Koala, and today you'll notice we have a new splash page. I got some art sent to me by a fellow with the gamer tag Armored Dog 69. So shoutouts to Armored Dog 69 for this new splash art. It's really sweet. I really appreciate the picture you sent me. It's really cool. But today we're gonna go a little bit newer school. There's a recent trials map called First Light. I'm sure plenty of you are aware. I got a submission by a Striker Titan running Jade Sniper on this First Light map. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I tweeted out my basic premise for First Light, but it's basically you control the radio tower where the point spawns, and you decide how you want to engage the enemy. There are a couple ways you can do this, but primarily you want to focus on baiting them into your primary range and not really getting into very many sniper battles, because the harder you try to get into a sniper battle, the more likely you are to fail on this map because of how large it is and how many times you're going to be sniped off radar, which is the vast majority. You're going to have to use your eyes over your radar, which is a problem when you snipe. That's why sniping's really bad in Inferno, because you have to know exactly where your opponent is, and if you're looking over this huge map trying to find them, you're only going to have a rough time. So the first thing that I want to talk about kind of ties in with searching for targets. So when you search for a target with in any game mode, really, not just with a sniper, but with your primary as well, the one thing you don't want to do is search with your face. So what do I mean by search with your face? Well, there's a difference between looking down your scope, right? Knowing where someone is, knowing where someone's going to be, having a good idea of how they're going to move, and staying out in hip fire like this and out in the open and just looking around to try to find a sniper glint. Because let's say in this scenario you do end up finding a sniper glint, right? It's way off into the distance. What's actually going to happen in that scenario, right? You're going to see the glint. They're likely going to see you. By the time you scope in on them, you've already been body shotted, or you've just been straight up domed before you even got a chance to hit a shot. So when you search for targets, you don't want to use your face, right? You don't want to just walk out into the open trying to find someone. You want to know where to look and minimize the amount of time you're looking there. And most of the time you want to be looking there down ADS, down your sight. And then scope out every now and then to check your radar. But by checking with your face like this, it's only a recipe for disaster. And this comes up all throughout this match. So I'm going to harp on it early, and then I'm just going to kind of point out when it happens again and again. I don't know if Nature's Organics, the guy that sent me this, notices that, knew that he checked with his face. But, I mean, it tells me two things. One, you have no idea where the enemy player is going to be, and you're just trying to widen your field of view as much as possible, which is okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do that until you get on these huge maps where, and you pulled yourself way out of cover in order to get that huge field of vision. So here, this is a much better position to be checking, right? You can scoot up to the rock, you can use this cover blocking off your side, and you can scope in real quick. Now, having played this map on a couple cards, I would know if I was a sniper and I was going to decide to snipe out in Rocket Yard, this is going to be one of the first places I look, is this rock, because that's where most people go. But if you're unfamiliar, and you can even see there was a little bullet ting there. If you don't know, then that's an okay spot to be at. So now that someone's out on girders and your teammate just got sniped, you need to rotate around to control the orb. So the second thing you have to understand about trials, and plenty of people understand this already, but in order to win a round, it's not about outslaying the other team. It's about being better at controlling the orbs. Once you get that first pick down, your team needs to push up and pressure the remaining players with that numbers advantage. So there's two ways you can do this. The first way is a team push, and the second way is a team surround. The difference being the push is 3 players all moving forward in a line. That kind of push gives the opportunity for the remaining 2 teammates to break off and leave and escape, but that gives you full control over the orb you have down. So you're always going to be at a numbers advantage. If you do the surround, what that's going to do is it's going to pinch the 2 remaining players in the center as you surround them, and you limit their ability to move around the map because they're going to run into someone as they try to escape. So you have to decide as a team and as a player what your style is going to be to push these orbs. The thing you don't want to do is sit off in the distance and try to get a res snipe. That was okay at the beginning of Trials when people didn't know about pushes, when people didn't know about spinning. But now that Trials is much more established as the game mode, and pretty much everyone that plays it is aware of kind of the basic mechanics of it, or can even look up a basic video on how to do these things, or they listen to me, you just can't res snipe like you used to anymore, because players are smarter now. Now, knowing that your partner just got sniped and they're likely feeding you that information, the one thing you don't want to do is be looking behind you, right? Because there wasn't anyone really behind you, and you saw that there was one person on girders, and you know that there was one person probably out on your initial building. I don't remember what number it is, but there's at least one person out there in both of those locations. So you don't really need to be checking your flank. You just need to be controlling the orb and defending it. Now, you could have very easily gotten a res there. It was behind cover. You could have just picked him up and used him as bait, even having your teammate snipe the guy that's trying to res snipe. That's one of the powerful things you can do with orbs, is you don't necessarily need to get your teammate up. Like, the goal for getting someone up in an unsafe position is not for them to try to survive or try to, push them out of the way or hope that they spin around and the sniper misses their shot. No, you want to use that opportunity to distract the enemy sniper and kill them. And then you can pick up your teammate. And now you can cover that orb while you wait for your teammate. Or then you can take a 2v2 situation and just push in to the remaining players. There's lots of things you can do, but the one thing you don't want to do is just expect that your teammate's going to survive. Because either you're going to get killed trying to res them, or they're going to immediately die once they do get up. So you have to use that to your advantage. Now, we've gotten shot from both sides in this position. So we need to decide one person to pick and fight. So finally we pull back into cover, and knowing that there's at least one person on either side of us, we needed to make a decision real quick. So we decided to go with the front, whereas our teammate is going around to deal with the flank, which is okay. I would have liked to see you go with the flank, or go challenge the flank, because it's going to be a 2v1, and then the 2 players are going to catch up, and you're going to just end up in a 2v2 battle, which is much better than this 1v2, 1v1 kind of situation you have going right here. So you see one person, you see 2 people. So you have time for 1 shot here. 1, that is it. Because normally double peeking might be okay. Might be okay against a sniper, right? You can slide back out to challenge. You can jump back out to challenge. You can rearrange your position. You can just move, around wherever you were and challenge from slightly a different angle. But against 2 players, you don't want to re-challenge ever. Ever, ever. Never, ever. Even when you get a body shot like that. Take your 1 shot and leave. That's it. That's the only, especially with the changes of flinch now, as a sniper, that is the only amount of time that you have to snipe now. If you don't get that headshot, you need to immediately switch to your primary and try to finish them off from that distance, because you're going to get flinched out of your next shot. Or you just need to immediately reposition if they're going to re-challenge you with sniper. He stays for the double peek, and the second guy just takes care of him. So if you disengaged there and dealt with the flank, which was what they did, you would have just had a numbers advantage. Got your partner up, so then you would have been in a 3v2 instead of what it is now. Now, as far as your teammates positioning here goes, being completely exposed in the open like that, he was very lucky they didn't get sniped. And then pulling all the way out of cover into the center of that lane, he could have very easily stayed on that wall where he was at, challenged the guy that was jumping down, and then dealt with the guy up on the top rock. A lot of options for your teammates there, because I know you sent this to me and it was your whole team. So you have to be aware, where's your cover? And you don't need to necessarily pull all the way out of your cover at that distance, right? No one is going to shotgun you in that distance, ever. Unless, you know, they're Titan skating and you're just not paying attention. If they get like 2 full skates off, then you deserve to get shotgunned. Sitting there, not being able to hit enough primary shots. But in that position, he just had to stand his ground. As soon as the person pushes over their cover and is just floating down like that, they're sitting duck. That's an easy kill. Alright, so this second round brings up the second point of today's lesson, and that's when you play trials, you have to have a plan every single round. Now that plan can change every single round. I encourage it to change. I encourage you to go to different spots. I encourage you to change up your opening gambit every single round, just to throw off your opponent, to make your team unpredictable, to look at different angles on the map, maybe, or, you know, just do the same thing again. It worked the first time, why not the second time? Maybe they'll be a little bit more prepared for us, but maybe we think our gun skill's better. Maybe we think our positioning is better. Maybe we think we're just going to get to that point faster than they are. But have a plan, right? Know exactly what you're going to do. So if the plan here was to go to A caves, or I think this is A caves, I don't know, back caves, then go to the caves, commit with your team. If the plan was to go to girders the entire time, then go to girders. But in this position here, what are you actually covering? You're not covering any angles that your teammates have, right? You're just covering the flank here. So why not move around as a flank? So here, again, you have one chance to take a shot, because then your enemy opponent, the longer you stay in the lane, in any sniper lane, the more opportunity that you give to your opponent to line up a better shot on you. It's great that you traded here, but you should have just taken that information, relayed it to your team, and then you could have all moved up into Big Dome, and you could have all challenged that person with primaries. Or you could have challenged a person much closer with snipers, with a numbers advantage. You never had to, you don't have to commit to every single time you see someone, you don't have to commit to that fight. You're under no obligation to commit to an engagement. Unless it's a 1v1, and it's just, you know, the 2 of you are left, and, you know, it's 4-4, and it's do or die, right? And even then, if you can disengage and go get your buddies up. You don't have to commit to that engagement if you don't want to. And oftentimes, in 1v1s, in a team mode, you shouldn't commit to a 1v1, especially when you're already looking at each other, especially when you're already fighting on each other. And you're completely exposed in the open here. So many things going wrong right now. Now this is an okay cover, except again, it just gets pushed. In this situation here, you should just be aiming to get the person that's rezzing that's bringing up the res. Not the person that gets res, but the person that's doing the res. The reser, not the resi. Because you know that they're going to push the player, right? Because the tendency for players in trials to do is push, right? So you know they're going to come across your vision. Especially if you know they're off to the left, they're going to push into your right. So just aim low, because you have to slide in order to push someone. And if you're just running in a straight line, it's pretty easy to adjust from a slide range up into the head level. And just kill the guy that you know, hasn't died yet. And then the second guy that just got res has to run off. And if he ends up dying, he has a 14-second timer. So it's even easier to cover that orb. Also, instead of your teammates trying to focus on getting you up, they could have focused on moving up to control the orb, right? They move up, they apply that pressure, they get to the point where, okay, now the enemy team can't challenge us unless they come into a primary range, or unless they come into shotgun range, or we can melee them, or we can pre-nade them as they come over the top. Then leave one person there, and then now that you've secured the orb, send the one person back for a res, right? You have control of the orb, and now you have control of the second orb. And then you're going to end up at a numbers advantage. Once you get that third guy back up, you all push back to that one orb that you got down. Now here he just ends up getting flanked, but this is another important point that, like, if you're going to get someone up, it needs to be safe. It needs to be safe, or you need to be using them as bait. The goal here is not, again, not to get the person up. It's to use them as bait. But because you had no idea where the enemy was, they used that orb as bait against you. They dangled this nice free res in front of you, and you took it, hook, line, and sinker. And again, your teammate, while running away, is fine. You should be running into cover. Or getting on a sparrow and driving around, leading him on a goose chase, right? He could have been playing for super there. And if he was playing for super, he could just go and hide and then go and smash the point when it comes up. Okay, so if your plan is to challenge an angle, then know where you're challenging. So again, here, we're aiming with our face. When we were on that rock, we were aiming with our face. And we get a really nice snipe. But unfortunately, someone decides that he's going to walk all the way behind us and Nova Bomb. Now, as a team, this should never happen. Ever. The fact that you got to this location first, your teammates are off to your left, and you got Nova'd off to your left, something went horribly wrong. And you saw the guy drop down, and he's going to go through rectangles to take the shortest route to get to you. This person should have never seen you. They should have been team fired immediately. And you should also be telling your teammates, calling that out to your teammates, like, hey, he's going from front turret to rectangles, or he's going to push me head on. Like, I need help here. Especially after you've already gotten shot. No reason for that guy to be there and get out uncontested. So now that the team is pushed up to your orb, they have complete control over this orb. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about orb control. They can just as easily send one of these guys back to get that orb on top radio tower on level 3. And they can keep one here just to control the orb. They can hide behind this rock and spend as much time as they need to, as long as your teammates don't push in. And your teammates don't look like they're ever going to push in, right? Now that they've gotten 2 down, they need to immediately chase. Because you know exactly where that person is going when he's running away. He's going right to the top radio tower. They don't even need to pick you up in that position. He's by himself. All you need to do is cover that orb on top radio tower. That's it. And you can do that naturally by getting to this position. And you even know where the orb is. But why are you searching with your face? You know exactly where that orb is. Just look there. If he's not there, edge forward. Keep an eye on the orb. Your teammate is pushed up. You need to support teammates that push like this. Or you need to tell your teammate that they can't push like this because you're not there. They're alone. You don't need to be a hero in numbers advantage situations. And because your teammate controls level 2 of the radio tower, you're not really doing anything controlling the outer rims. Right? You can actually, because your teammate is in level 2, you can get on to level 3 if you wanted to. Or you could go into level 1 and hop up inside, get to back turret, then hop up on the rear radio tower. Your positioning here, like, doesn't do anything. It's effectively the person that ran away is effectively in a 1v1 because you're not going to cover the same angle once they start firing on your teammate. Or if you get fired on, your teammate isn't going to be close enough to support you. So you and your teammates have put each other in all of these separate 1v1s. And what you want to be doing is pressuring this person as a team. You saw on radar he's going to be somewhere in Big Dome or somewhere around the back of Big Dome. Now, time's pretty much running low. We have a smash. We basically have all the cards in our favor at this point. So just play point. A lot of players get impatient and they want to get that third kill when you don't have to kill a single person in order to win the game. You can die on the very center of the point and you could potentially win the game if you're just on the center of the point and overtime expires. So because people kept searching for targets, again, with their face, because radar doesn't work very well on this map because of how far away it is, and this person was out in the middle of nowhere, you know, in the open, they could have just as easily been searching right here next to this pillar and been safer. These are all free deaths, right? Uncontested. So you end up dropping down here and capturing point. Knowing that the guy's self-res, you want to be inside because he's going to be lobbing grenades down on you, especially if he knows you're on the point. And there was no need, zero need for you to smash there. Absolutely none. You had two teammates. It's two teammates. That person was weak. You only need to primary them. You could have punched him and he would have died. Yeah, you secure the round, but it could be a huge issue later in the game if you don't have a smash when you didn't need to use it in the first place. Okay. So here we have a much, much better position, right? We're undercover, we have a good head glitch, we get 2 very easy kills. Your position here is perfect. You have perfect control over these orbs. All you need to do is have your teammates move up. Because you have the initial shots, you can see where they're going to push in to get these orbs. Like, this round should be very, very easily won. So it's good that your teammates are pushing up, applying a little bit more pressure on that orb. You don't need to give up your position. You don't. Because all you need to do is all 3 of you to hide and let the third person run out the time. One of you can stay here, and then one of you can scout, and then the second person can go support the scout once they find out where that person is. And you just have to be aware that if that third person does decide to get on their Sparrow, that you're close enough to cover the orb when they get there. That's it. Again, we're searching with our face. And now we're going to play peekaboo. Right? Now I listened to the callouts. You had no idea where this person was. So you shouldn't use your teammate as bait unless you know where they are. You had a general idea, you knew they were somewhere on top radio, but you didn't have a good call out on it, so don't pick them up. Because it's going to get harder and harder to pick up that person the more times you res them. So you saw, it was a 14-second cooldown as soon as he got domed. It was a cheeky push there, like maybe you could have got punished for that. Glad you didn't. This is a good pull back into cover, but this person is just picking apart your team because no one is applying actual pressure to this person. No one is getting up into his face. I don't know why you're even using a grenade there when you should be using that grenade to cover orbs. You don't want to use your grenades to search for targets. You only want to use them when you know where they are, right? And you want to be able to aim them properly. The further away that you have to hit your grenade in order for it to be effective, the less I'm going to encourage you to use it at that range. You need to be really good with your grenade placement. It's one of the most powerful tools in anyone's kit is your grenade. Even something as weak as Stormcaller or Night Stalker. Your grenade is still really important. It lets you defend yourself very easily. If anyone pushes into you and you're just playing Night Stalker and you throw a Void Wall at your feet and they have to go through it in order to challenge you, it's going to be so easy for you to kill them with a primary. That shotgun range that you have is going to be extended because they're going to be weak. But if you just lob that grenade whenever you feel like it because if someone shows up on radar, you're going to be left in these situations where it's going to be much harder for you to make a play. You don't want that. You don't want to make it harder on you. Every kill should be easy, right? You should have good positioning, or you should just be able to get first shot off. It should be hard for your opponent to hit you, or it should be easy for you to hit them. Or hit them first. That's it. There's no secret way to win. If you put yourself in good positions where you give yourself an opportunity to shoot first, you're going to win with the majority of the time. Now here, you're firing at max rate of fire, and you're not really aiming. And this is something that I do as well from time to time. You got to slow down during engagements. You need to mentally tell yourself, slow down. You don't have to kill someone in the optimal time to kill. It is obviously better to kill someone in 0.8 seconds versus 1 second versus a second and a half. But if you spend a second and a half hitting them 3 times and then missing that 4th shot over and over and over again, and that second and a half turns into 3 seconds, and by that time you get team shot and it ends up in a trade, when instead you could have told yourself, hey, slow down, make sure the shot hits, kills them in 2 seconds, and then you have just enough time to get back into cover and not get team shot. Though that's important, right? It's okay that you aren't the best with your gun skill, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't actively be working to hit every shot. If you had not spammed the trigger as they were firing and you had lined up more shots, you would have had enough in the mag left to kill that second person. Because you got 3 shots off on that person. The 4th one would have killed them. But you just ran out of ammo. Okay. Alright, heavy round. Now I made a note here, and it basically has to do with sliding, right? At no point during this entire time I have been watching this have you slid into any engagement. You've been checking with your face and you've been walking around. And there's very little skating. Now on this map, skating isn't as important just because it's huge. But you should be sliding around these corners, right? You should be sliding into this room. Because that person was hard scoped down the hall, and you're very lucky you didn't die as soon as you round the corner. Because they weren't prepared for you at head level. As far as the rocket shot goes, if you get the first kill and the second guy runs off, you don't need to immediately shoot your second shot. Especially on this huge map like this. Like, once you get 2 people down, if you have a rocket left, how are they actually gonna cap the point, right? If you're just sitting off waiting for them to get on the point and then you're gonna shoot a rocket on it, like, how are they actually gonna win the round? If they want to abandon the orb and leave it alone, you don't have to chase after them with heavy. You can just use it to play the point. It's obviously easier to close out the round if you put yourself in a good position, but if they're going to run off and hide, then let them hide and play the point. Don't give themselves an opportunity. Like, your whole team is charging super compared to their 1 super. I mean, next time you want to check corners like that, just sit down. You don't need to dance. That kind of choreographs to your opponent what you're doing. It tells them, hey, you know, I'm somewhere and I'm looking around a corner. Whereas if you just sit down, it accomplishes the same thing. If you have a sword, you can take that out too. So I like the push back to the zone because you know exactly where the person's going to be. Right? But you don't have to check for them. Again, you don't need to check for this person coming around. You just need to stay inside on the edge of that control point and just capture it safely. Because what is that person actually going to do to challenge you? Like, he has to get close enough to super you, and he can fly by in a Sparrow and maybe hop off and have just enough time to super, but if you're inside, you can just walk in around the corner or jump straight back. Gonna have no chance. So again, on the final round, still checking over their face. Still have no idea where the people are going to move on this map. And I'm sure that's a limiting factor for you in trials now. Is this checking with your face thing? Good players punish you for this. Especially on small maps. Where you go to the 50-50 and you just look at the 50-50. You don't scope in. You're not prepared for wherever they are. You're just looking around like, hey, where are they at? And then by the time you see that red glint, bam, you're dead. Just like there. Where he's just sitting on the back of the turret. And you just kept looking with your face. Just kept looking with your face. And eventually your face is going to catch a bullet. Just like that. Yeah, I'm really surprised that person didn't cover their orb. Person like flies off on their sparrow, get the kill. And the last point I want to make is be aware of what your opponents are running. This is the only reason why you should check loadout at the very beginning, so you know what supers they have. And if you don't know what supers they have by the end of the match, like, something has gone horribly wrong. So this person that self-resed should have never been able to move. You should have just killed him as soon as he rezzed, or at least put shots off on him. When you went back out, again, you checked with your face. Very surprised you didn't die there, even though you knew the general area of where that person was going to be. And now look at what your position is right now. Where your opponent went to behind Little Dome, he has cover. You are completely exposed. After he's escaped, you need to get into cover. You need to leave, because if he turns on you, it's going to be very easy to kill you. I mean, so that's pretty much it as far as the review goes. Guy ends up just leaving, just giving up. Kind of unfortunate, but sometimes you know when you've lost. That one was kind of a rough one, because even though you won, I feel like as a team, you didn't do a ton right. You just kind of won the engagements that happened to happen because the enemy players were worse than you. But the mistakes that you made in this game teach you that it's okay to make the mistakes that you made, and that they might not necessarily be mistakes, which is a problem, right? That checking with face thing, that isn't something that you just like did overnight. That's something you've done for a long time. And hopefully you understand like why you shouldn't do it now. You only got punished the one time, right? That one time that the guy was on the back of or maybe twice. Just the one obvious glaring time was that last round where he was on the back turret and you ate the bullet. But that's something that's going to be commonplace in trials, and it's going to be commonplace in any game mode. If you're searching for targets with your face instead of looking down sights and knowing where players are going to be, or having a very good idea based on radar where they're going to move, right? If someone's to the right of you, let's say we're playing Black Shield and you're inside doors, you move to left towards C, and you know someone is around the corner, right? They're either in the cubby or they're in the window. They're in one of those positions, but they're on radar over there. You know them to get into you, to challenge you, they're going to have to come, you know, from your right across the left. Knowing that, you can just scope in and be prepared for them with either your sniper or just, you know, crouch around a corner and wait for them to show up on radar. Just be far enough away so that they don't just immediately slide around the corner and shotgun you, but just keep your distance, wait for them to come, and then punish them when they do, because maybe they're not prepared for you to be there. That's how you search for targets. You don't want to wander around trying to find, you know, a glint or a person to show up on you know, in your sights. And it's especially important when there's no radar, because it's very easy to track someone with a sniper. Yes, you have the glint, and that helps out everyone else, but it also gets you weapons ready for when you do find someone. So to summarize, things to focus on. Work more on searching with your gun and staying closer to your cover over searching with your face and eating bullets. Know how to pressure and get closer to orbs, right? Either surround or push with your team. Don't just let it sit there, right? You have 7 seconds before they can even do anything about it. Use it. Use that 7 seconds to gain some ground. It doesn't have to be much ground, right? If you just move, you know, 15, 20 feet ahead of yourself, that's still ground gained. That's still an amount of distance that your opponents, you know, can't travel as easily. It's going to be easier for you to hit primary shots. It's going to be a little bit easier to hit snipes. It's going to be easier to throw grenades. It just helps you out to get closer. And then finally, and this didn't come up a lot, but just that one round where you kind of backpedaled onto girders. You should have a plan for every round. And you should relay that to your team. Trials is all about teamwork. When I play Trials with people, I'll tell them, hey, you know, my opening is going to be like, I'm going to go, let's on Rusted Lands this week, I'm going to tell them, hey, I'm going to go through A, I'm going to pressure B. Or I'm going to go through Water Tower and I'm going to pressure C. Or I'm going to go through C and I'm going to pressure Building 7. Or I'm going to pressure B Broken. Or I'm going to pressure from Rubble. I'm going to tell them what I'm going to do. Then my teammates can either follow me or they're going to tell me what they're going to do. Okay, you're going to go to B. We're going to flank through C. And when I get to, you know, top A field and I'm shooting into B, I know that my teammates should be getting close to a pinch. And so I'll say, hey, you know, I can't fight anymore or I'm weak. I got to back off. And if they chase, I'll let them know I chase so they can push into C, from C into B. And if they're not going to chase, then my teammates know that they're the front now, right? And I'm the flank. So they need to be careful when they push forward because the 3 players in B could turn on the 2 players in C. You just need to tell players what you're doing, as opposed to an issue that a lot of players that I play with have, and that's you don't talk very much until you're dead. Like, it's great that you can have the best callouts in the world when you're dead, but it matters more to me and to a lot of players that you tell me what you're doing before I have to make up for the fact that you're no longer able to help me team fire, or you're no longer able to control an angle, or hold down a zone, or cover my back. Like, if you go down, then there are a lot more issues that come up than if you say, hey, I'm about to get an engagement on pipes in mid lane. If I'm on A, I know that if I go to A window, I can challenge that same guy with you. And even if you die, it's guaranteed that guy is going to die too, because I'm not going to miss my shots. And I'm going to be able to support you, and then I'm going to be able to push up, cover that orb, and we're going to be able to get you back up, and then have a numbers advantage. But if you tell me when you die, oh, he's on pipes, I might be too late. He might be already in his cover. He might be hiding already. He might dome me because now, you know, maybe he knows where I'm coming from. Maybe he has a good idea where I could be. And then we're both dead, right? And that guy's a hero. And all that happened just because you didn't say what was going on in the moment or right before it happened. So you want to be proactive with your callouts. You don't want to be reactive when you're dead. It's good that you have those callouts when you're dead. It's good that you utilize that red outline to know where that one person killed you is going around, but it's still better if you stay alive and you ask for help. And I mean, that's the easiest way to get the lighthouse. You just ask for help and you team fire everyone, because it's very easy to kill someone with half the bullets together than it is all the bullets by yourself. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. If you want to support the stream, you can become a Patreon backer. You can, you know, like the videos that you see on YouTube. You can subscribe. You can follow on Twitch. But most importantly, if you want to support me, tell your friends. Get them to send me, you know, submissions. Get them to send me Rumble matches or threes matches. Get your teammates that you play trials with to send me in. And you know, I will help. I've helped you out. Let me help your friends out. Let them tell more people. And just a lot of people that watch say, you know, why aren't you so popular? And that's because people aren't talking. So if you want me to become more popular, just talk about me and get more people involved. I do all of this for you guys, and if I don't get anything from you guys, there's nothing for me to do. Like, I can just critique my own stuff all day long, but that isn't going to necessarily help you guys out, right? It's not directly going to translate into making you a better player. It's just going to show you how I make myself a better player, and that's not what this is about. Anyway, but I've been your host and host of Crucible Bootcamp today. Thank you guys for watching. Class is dismissed. See you guys next time.